Well, hello there, humans, hippies, earthlings, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and if you're lucky enough to be doing it too, get it on! I'm really happy to be here talking to you today, and today we're going to be talking about what is a bit of a sea change in the Blitz community, and I'll break that down and talk to you about autoloaders and why that's a bit of a sea change. And by sea change, I mean a move towards the coast, a move away from the hustle and the bustle of the city, a move to something different, and autoloaders have definitely changed the face of the game as we know it, and I'll get to exactly why. Before I do, if you'd ever consider sponsoring the channel and becoming a patron, there's a lot of cool stuff. Tomorrow I'm doing a patron podcast and a patron video. I do those pretty much every week. I did miss last week simply because I was in Las Vegas and the world got the better of me. But there you go. There's a link there. And on Wednesday this week, Australian time, Tuesday, American time, we'll be doing a Discord count-ins with all the patrons and celebrity guests and such, and everyone on YouTube. But the Discord channel will be for patrons only to talk in. Anyway, why autoloaders? Why do I need to do anything about autoloaders? Well, recently we've had the semis and the finals of the Twister Cup, which I've commentated both on North America and the Asia server. We've had the Tokyo Game Show, and we've had the Las Vegas Mobile Masters, which obviously I just went and commentated live at in the States. And they were all great. And what they've been tremendously different from this year, the tournament tanking stuff we've been doing, is that there's been a huge variety of tanks as opposed to the recent past when everyone just rode IS-7s or Object 140s. And that massive variety of tanks has included a large chunk of autoloaders, be it the Batchat, the T-57 Heavy, which I'm driving here with Swiss Cheezel in a double autoloader platoon, or the AMX-50B. All of them have featured heavily in tournament play with the best players in the world. And that's brilliant for the diversity of the game and the continued health of the game. You need a different bunch of tanks, and that's exactly what you get. But a lot of people haven't really played autoloaders at upper tiers before because, well, let's be honest, they were a little bit subpar. They weren't up to scratch. And with the huge changes that have taken place in the past 6 to 12 months with the game, which I think have been fantastic, and I think the game is better than it's ever been now. And I'm happy to debate the point with anyone that wants to debate it. Autoloaders have really come to the fore. Previously, there weren't many that were absolutely viable. Now, there's a couple of things I want to talk about with regard to autoloaders. If you were to say, compare Blitz to an RPG where you have healers and tanks and DPS and all this, an autoloader is the burst DPS. Did you see that? We both had 2,027 damage. Very cool. Good work, Swizzle. Burst DPS. It's not that long sustained damage. It's got that big burst damage you need to take a target down from half hit points to 0 hit points. It's not the tanky kind of, warrior or something if you're looking at an RPG. It's the tank that's still going to take some damage, but it's just going to output so much DPS it can burn. Like that E75 there. I clipped him, then Swiss clipped him, and he's finished. Because these tanks have tremendous burst potential and very, very limited sustained damage. You have 20.6 seconds between your firing and your reload, and that's a lot. And you can see there, one, Swiss has got him, then I get him, and then Swiss gets him again, and that's that clipping out. So when you're running these in tournaments, or you're running them in a platoon, any kind of autoloader, you want to be doing this where you're focus firing a tank, and you're able to put all your burst damage out in one foul swoop on another tank, and hopefully completely clip them out. That's what we call it, clipping them out. And if you can focus that damage, you'll do really well. If you're alone in an autoloader, you can be terribly upset. And you can see Swiss hit that STB1, I've stuck with him, and he's put a full clip in, and I'm going to now get a full clip in, and he's dead. And that's the joy of running two big, heavy autoloaders together. You can cover for each other. Your ability to put in 3 shots and then pull back while your mate puts in 3 shots is very, very cool. And I've called Swiss's attention to this area here. Now, this could be in a T-54E1, this could be in an IS-3 Defender, it could be in a Predator UM, any tank, really, where you have an auto-loading clip. You're waiting for that target to pop, and then you're going to try and work it out together, and you're going to try and actually put shots in. One of the best things you can do in game when you're first starting out is platoon with someone else. Get a regular platoon partner. Get someone who you regularly can play with. And there's a reason for that, because it allows you to learn the next level of Blitz tactics. Blitz is all well and good being great on your own and being able to carry in the right tank with the right skill set. But it's even better when played with a friend. And that's really important, because it gives you the opportunity to learn those team tactics. And autoloaders are excellent for that. If you want to just practice and get good, I would recommend that you get a mate, you grab a couple of autoloaders, and you run around and focus on getting the same targets, choosing the same targets, and consistently clipping out into the same target. And you're going to find that it increases the value of your tank exponentially. The 57 Heavy is a very strong tank in my opinion, in and of itself. But it's a funny one. When it's geared with another autoloader and with someone who's driving that tank that you have a particular chemistry with and you played with for a long time, it becomes a much, much better tank and a far more dangerous proposition. But it's still quite capable of carrying on its own. I'm going to show you one more game here where I'm running the Heavy, and I'm going to talk to you about the other big part that really comes into play with autoloaders. And quite apart from your target selection and trying to hit the same target together, and you can see that's what we're doing there with that other 57 Heavy and the AMX 50B. And you'll see these guys, generally when we get the chance and we get to clip out one tank in particular, they fall very, very quickly. Like they go down very, very quickly. But the other thing is the reload sequence. So in an autoloader, like I mentioned, you're all burst damage. You are 100% burst damage. There is a fine line, and the more you drive them, the better you'll get at this. And when I first started driving autoloaders, I was very poor at it, and I didn't even really realize it at the time, but it was something that I did very, very poorly. And that is reloading. At times, there will only be the opportunity to put 2 shots in. Now, it's less prevalent in this than it is in the AMX 50B, because the AMX 50B has 3.3 seconds between shots. The T57 Heavy has 2.5, and that means you can get 3 shots out in 5 seconds versus 3 shots out in 6.66 seconds. And Swiss Cheesel's gone off to do his own thing over here and just got 183. You can see he was doing great until the Death Star got him. I remember him on Discord. He was just like, WTF? What? Who? What? Bam, dead. But we finished off his tank, so, you know, all well and good. All's well that ends well. When you go for the reload is really important. Now, I often will fire 2 shots, and if the 3rd shot's not on and I'm spotted and they're looking at me, I'll just immediately start reloading. Now, there's a really simple explanation for that, because when you've got 3 in the clip, your potential damage is 1200. If someone pushes on you and you only have 1 in the clip and you've been holding it for that special somebody who's coming around the corner and they're not a kill shot, so it's not really worth risking it, then you only have 400 damage. Think of how many times you are pushed on by tanks with less than 1200 hit points. It happens an awful lot. And if you're in a big autoloader like this, you need to learn when to reload your clip. Especially in late game situations. You're going to see here, there is a 183 and an IS-8. Our waffle tractor's gone. I get a shot into the IS-8. The 183 is there. He is a double shot. So I'm going to have to hit him twice to kill him. So I look at the maths. I look at the numbers. I've got 400 average alpha. If I use heat, I've got like 360 average alpha. And if I want a 100% pen, I may well use that. And he has a massive big gun. Even if he pushes on me and shoots me, with a 20-second reload, I am more than capable of completely reloading my tank and finishing him off. So I can afford to bounce a shot here, and I will still completely finish him. Because I'm using that area in front of me, he wasn't actually able to see me, which was really cool. And that's the real key to being successful in these tanks. It's a lot easier when you have a platoon mate, because when you have a platoon mate, you can get someone to cover for you at all times. When you're on your own, that's not so easy, and you've got to be really aware of that. So I hope that gives you some food for thought. It's something that's really worth working on, and if you've got a mate that you platoon with all the time and you both have autoloaders, jump in them and have a run together with that special boy or girl that you run around with a lot, because it will make you a better player, and it's a really important part of the game. And if you're going to get to tier 10 and you want to get some cool tanks, you should have at least one autoloader in the closet. I'm going to be doing another look at the Bat Chat too, by the way, because it's now a very different tank now that it's got that on-the-move camo, and I'm going to be redoing that review. I would highly recommend getting a 50B or a 57 Heavy though. They are pretty special tanks, and if you watched any of the tournament tanking lately, you'd see there was usually at least one or two on the field at all times. And that's important because they don't get used if they're not especially good tanks by these guys. They really, really go out of their way to make sure they win when they're playing a tournament. And learning to play an autoloader in a team environment is a big part of that. I'm Bushka on Blitz. Love you guys. Thank you so much for sticking around the channel. Make sure you pop along on Tuesday NA time at 5:30 West Coast, 8:30 PM East Coast. That's Wednesday at 10:30 in the morning for those of us in Australia on the East Coast. And there'll be a stream on channel. So you can watch that, you can participate. We do YouTube count-ins there. Everyone gets to go in on the atomic clock and you're a chance. We do those on the NA server because it's kind of a neutral territory. And I will throw a couple of those in on lower tiers as well, just for everyone to have a chance. Until next time, look after yourselves and stay safe on the battlefield.